Welcome to BW Healthcare World. India this time has faced rain more than what it usually does. And the situation of waterlogging and floods in many areas raises a health concern. To understand what the health risk could be, I have invited Mr. Saurabh Arora, who's a managing director of Auriga Research, to share with us what is it that their research shows, what is it that their testing has shown in the past, and what is it that we should be concerned of and be looking to manage in these situations when it comes to managing our health. Yeah, Dr. Arora, before we begin, can you tell me a little bit about your organization, Auriga?
Great.
Right.
Yeah. So at Auriga, we are a contract research and testing organization,
Mhm.
and we are working with the mission to, help the uh, innovation and production of good quality and safe products. And we serve major industries that we work with is food and beverages,
Mhm.
pharmaceuticals,
Oh,
nutraceuticals, Ayurvedic, and medical devices. And in all of them, and also separately, water and wastewater testing is a very important part because water is the major ingredient and the major outflow from all of these industries. So we are involved in testing of the raw water which is going in to the processed waters which are used, as well as the wastewater which comes out of these companies as well.
uh, you know, and the situation this time in our country because of the rainfall, the heavy rainfall, which has been more than what we had expected or seen in the last few years, has created also a situation which is a concern for health. Whether you're looking at floods in Punjab or many other parts of the country, whether you're looking at, the waterlogging in Gurgaon and many parts of Delhi. And we've also, heard stories from RWA where the dirty water has got mixed with Delhi Jal Board water. So what I really want to discuss with you is to understand the health risk of the tap water that we are receiving today, and also the water that we may be, trying to navigate our way through when we are out on the roads. Uh, so first is, if you can let us know what is the situation in Delhi of the quality of water that we are receiving uh, in the wake of the water logging situation that we are hearing of.
So, yes, it is a very tough time right now. And even if we were to go back into ancient times and look at, what was the worst time to get water, it is definitely during the floodings and when such incidents happen because, there is so much of turbulence and so much of waste is picked up and gets mixed up into the regular supply. So from ancient times, even then the rivers would become unsafe, and if the wells were flooded, it would become unsafe. Unfortunately, not much has changed. So our quite well trusted, reliable, clean water supply, which we get through the tap when it is there, uh, now becomes mixed with. Mostly the problem arises because of mixing with sewage water. What happens during monsoon is that typically there is a air gap between the sewerage lines and the water lines. There is some physical gap in between them. They're both leaking all the time, unfortunately. But when this water comes in, that gap goes away, and then there is free mixing. And then all the sewage and coliform, everything starts going from the sewage into your drinking water. On top of this, typically what is used to keep it out is the pressure. So when the fresh water supply is going, it is pressurized so that the dirty water and contaminants can't come in, even if there is some short leakage. But all of us have got these pumps at home. We have all got our own pumping system because we are all fighting for that supply. I want it, I want it. But 1 hour, I want to get the most of it.
Correct.
So that creates a negative pressure inside the supply line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now that negative pressure breaches the safety of the pressurized pipe also, and
Mm-hmm.
it starts pulling it all the dirty rainwater which is mixed with the sewage.
Okay.
And that is why all of us have this problem of having contaminated water. Now, if the drainage was working properly, there was no flooding happening, all of this was getting drained out timely, we would be in a much better situation. But with the stagnant water and the problems, it is a serious situation. We did a study a few years back where we had done sampling in Delhi and even Jamna Par region,
Right.
looking exactly at this problem. So we did sampling before monsoon,
Hmm.
and then again after during the monsoon season, we took samples from the same municipal supplies. You'll be shocked to know that in the dry period, actually the water was very good quality, and in some of the locations we had done this with Consumer Voice. They had published it also that there was actually no need for having water purifiers even. But as soon as the monsoon and flooding started, 90% of those became positive for coliform, showing contamination with sewage. And that's why there is always a boom of all these waterborne diseases and typhoid and all these things happening around this time.
Dr. Saurabh, we understand that there is a challenge because of flooding, because of waterlogging, the water getting mixed. What is it that needs to happen right now to handle this situation, both at the government level as well as the RWA level? And what is it that the individuals need to do to handle this situation and make themselves safer?
So the immediate measures are just common sense, what we can do. So be aware of what time the water is coming. Don't run your pumps all the time and suck the dirty water in. Monitor the incoming water, smell it, be careful, and use water purification or boil and cool your water, you know, to avoid infection. Basic common sense which has been there. And this is what is an immediate measure which we can take. We can't do anything beyond this. But there has to be a long-term solution. There has to be a resolution to it, which can only come from repairing the pipes, the leaks which are there in the water supply, especially in the older parts of Delhi. It has totally got destroyed. A lot of areas, if you look at the olden parts, these were built in 60s, 50s. And in some of these areas, the drinking water pipes have not been replaced ever. So those things need to be worked on, and those pipes need to be replaced or they need to be coated somehow to reinstate their integrity. If we don't do that, this will keep on happening. It is not only in monsoon, otherwise also when there is less water supply and you run your pumps too hard, you will suck in all the sewage. So the long-term resolution is only way is to make sure that the pipe and the supply system is repaired. Unless the government does that, we will keep on having these problems because we'll never be able to keep the dirt out.
Awesome. And tell me one thing, what are the kind of diseases that you have found to kind of come into the system uh, because of this water? I mean, when you researched, what are the kind of waterborne diseases that are prevalent today or could be a challenge because of this current situation?
So, sewage and soil is source for each and every bacteria. All the discovery on which bacteria are there in the world has been done on sewage and soil. So, unfortunately, you can end up with all kinds of diseases from this. But typically, what happens is that, uh, directly you will start getting gastrointestinal infections. You can get typhoid also. Then this water ends up in our food, and then the food helps it grow even more. So even food poisoning and even severe acute food poisoning can happen because of that. That is why the food establishments and us even at home have to be even more careful. That traditional wisdom कि बारिशों में बाहर नहीं खाना है बच्चों को street food avoid करना है. That is very true because when this dirty water comes into the food, it gets nutrients. The way we get nutrients, it gets nutrients. That it boosts it. So you become even more problem. So all these different diseases, something as bad as cholera can, Vibrio cholera can survive, and the Salmonella typhi can be there. Various forms of E. coli are there. So all these, even hepatitis and viral infections which are there, which can damage your liver severely. All of these come through the water.
And Dr. Saurabh Arora, my last question to you before I let you go is that one of the situation is at home, but what about schools? What about hospitals? What about clinics? What is it that they need to do to ensure? Because it's not just about boiling water at home and giving it to before you drink. So your phone is, yeah. So it's not about boiling water at home and before consuming it. But when it is at a mass level, when you have about 500 or 800 students in school or hundreds of patients in a hospital, what do you think that can we need to do to ensure that clean water can be supplied despite the condition of water which is being supplied to the institution?
I think it's a very good question that you have raised, and it helps will help me highlight one factor. So, all of this is related to risk. So, at home, the risk is of one family. At a school, it is thousands of children. At a society level, again, thousands of families. And at the water distribution and plant where the water is happening, it is literally all of our city. And as this risk increases, the responsibility also increases. And that is where it becomes important to monitor the quality. At home, you can't test, you can't say, "Ki, I will get my water tested every week. I will do this," because the risk benefit ratio is not there. And smaller precautions can serve you. But at a school, at a corporate office building, or at a society level where thousands of lives are at risk, I feel that risk mitigation over and above water purification also needs to have a plan for making sure to test the water. कर सकते हैं ना? Spend a couple of thousand rupees. You're spending money even to buy tankers during summer. That's also to get water. Now to get clean water, you can spend a couple of thousand rupees, and you will find out whether there is coliform, whether there is mixing in your system or not. Actually, I can give you a wonderful example of a very responsible institution. Uh, they were having regular testing done with us, and we ended up detecting coliform in their kitchen supply. Coliform is an indicator that sewage is getting mixed. They worked for 2 years. They dug up an entire golf course. They went through a lake. They repaired the entire pipe. They did not stop till they could find the root cause. But this was 5 years back. After that, they never had contamination. So, risk based approach where there is more risk, test it, solve it, go after the problem, find the root cause. Because many times it might not be municipal problem. It might be our own supply. So that is very important that at the larger institutions, they need to invest in testing and solving the problem on their own also.
But my question to you, Dr. Arora, is in this situation of waterlogging, and because institutions also, I mean, the schools have their lawns filled with water. The parking lots in many of the institutions are filled with water. The underground parking is filled with water. And what is the measure that institutions need to take right now to ensure
So
uh,
right now, if they have good purification systems in place, they can do it. So that again links back to this. If your system is there, you're thinking I have RO, but you've not serviced it in 3 years. I'm sure it's not working. You need to test it and monitor it to make sure that whatever systems you have in place, they are working. And if you have a properly set up system, you don't even need a RO. Nowadays, we have membrane microfiltration systems which can give you very large quantities of bacteria-free water very quickly and very cheap also. And you keep them maintained properly, you can protect your people.
awesome, Dr. Arora. Thank you so much for taking out time to speak with us this morning. Uh,
Thank you. Excuse me for my cold and that,
Absolutely,
and,
that's fine. That's fine.
but
I think
pleasure talking to you.
likewise. I think you need to take care of your cold. It's also one of the things that is
She's
viral today because of the water. Uh, but
yeah.
be well soon, and thank you so much for taking our time, sir.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure speaking to you.